I will give the rating later on, but I think you can tell from my face that this is not a very good question. Wow, today's coffee is really hot. Okay, morning class. Welcome to a new semester. My last class, almost 70% of the students failed, so I hope you guys can do better this round because also very depressing for me when I see so much people not passing. So I have already started the Q&A system, which some of you have already sent in your questions early this morning, so that's very good. I'm going to answer a few today. We try to do what we can in this short period of time together. Right, first question. Condo prices in Woodlands is cheap now. If we buy, we sure make money. Well done to this student who asked this question. Firstly, when you want to invest in a property, price is not the only thing you look at. Cheap price doesn't mean it's a good property, and there are a lot of things to consider when you are looking at an investment property. The location is very important, so doesn't mean you buy cheap, you'll definitely be able to sell at a higher price. There are many people I know that they buy cheap and then at the end they are not even able to sell out. So does that mean that you make money? No, in fact, there's a straight loss altogether. So it's important to look at the places whether there's enough demand. Up in the north right now in Singapore, the population density is still not that high. So even if you manage to buy a property for a very good price, you need someone else to take over in the future, which I think at this point of time in the north of Singapore, that is not going to happen for the next few years. So for this question, Prof Clarence is going to give it a C6 rating. So there are three things to remember how we grade all the questions. Firstly, you must earn while you stay. That means this property that you buy must make you money in future. Secondly, you must learn to upgrade smartly. Thirdly, you must leave a legacy with whatever property investment decision that you make. So this is how we will grade all the questions. So remember, when you ask a question, you must fulfill these 3 points. All right, the next question I want to answer is this. This student has sent in this question. My plan is to buy freehold property so that I can leave a legacy to my children. I think this question is a very good question. It deserves, in fact, an A1. I would think Prof Clarence will give you an A1 right now. The reason is because many people buy properties all over the world, including in Singapore, is because they want to leave something for their family, for their kids. But in Singapore, it's very difficult to leave a condo for your children. Just imagine there's really no condo in Singapore that's more than 50 years old, and you don't want to leave a broken old condo to your kids as well. Then they have to pay for all the maintenance. I think what really people want to do, and in fact one of my clients thought about this, can I buy an old freehold property so that I can still pass on to my kids because the lease will not run out? So I told him this. Remember, there's no really old condos in Singapore because the maintenance is going to be very high and the value will not appreciate anymore. I say what you want to do is to want to buy properties that are profitable, because at least you can pass on the profit or the money that you make to your kids. The only property asset that you can really leave to your children, and everyone must take note of this, is freehold landed properties, because the land is very valuable and the value of the land goes up over time. So if you have a landed house, congrats to you, you can definitely leave it behind if you choose to. Bearing in mind, I say freehold landed property because in Singapore there's also this unique property called 99 years landed. So like any other condo properties, 99 years landed, you cannot leave it to your children because the lease will run out. So this is a very good question. So just remember, this plan is a good one, but if you really want to buy a property to live for the next generation, only freehold landed. All other properties, choose something that will make you money so that at least you have some profits to live for your kids. All right, next question I have here. The point of buying a property is that I want to buy it and hold it for as long as possible. I will give the rating later on, but I think you can tell from my face that this is not a very good question. So even trees don't go forever. Singapore has a lot of trees. I don't think we see trees that keep growing and growing and growing and growing. Even trees hit a height. So if you buy a property and you want to hold it as long as possible, you need to ask yourself what's the purpose of doing so. It's very dangerous to buy something that you cannot sell in future. Not that you must always buy and sell all the time, but at least this place must be sellable when you want to sell it. None of us will go into a plane that has no exit doors except the door that you're coming from, right? If you ever find a plane like that, all the best to you because it's super dangerous. I'm not going to board the plane with you. All planes have multiple exit doors, and likewise, when you buy a property, it should give you multiple exit options. So I want to challenge this student. If you're thinking to buy a property and hold it for as long as possible, you need to ask yourself what's the purpose of doing so. Because if you're thinking the value can shoot up forever, then freehold properties in Singapore won't go for en bloc. They will hold it for forever until the bricks drop off, because if the value keeps going up, why do an en bloc? So my answer to this question is very simple: have an exit plan. So Prof Clarence will rate this question F9. Before I continue, I have a homework for you. Please subscribe, like this channel, submit your questions, and then I'll grade them.